Suarez deep to right field. Juan Soto at the wall. Gone! His first career game as a leadoff hitter. And Eugenio Suarez goes oppo. Double-digit dingers for Suarez. 2-0 Reds.
Hi everyone, Nick Kirby here. Tonight me and Carlos recorded our conversation during the rain delay. The game ended up being canceled after we wrapped up the show. The Reds will play tomorrow, probably today if you're listening to this. They will play tomorrow, which is Thursday. They'll play the conclusion of the game at 2:05. The Reds are currently trailing the Nationals 3-0 in the fourth inning, and then they'll play the second game at 7:05. The Reds are 4.5 games back in the NL Central at 21-25. The one thing we didn't touch in our conversation today that I did want to mention was Nick Senzel. He is going to be having surgery and be out 4 to 6 weeks. We did fail to mention. We didn't have Tim tonight, who probably would have kept us in on it, but we failed to mention Nick Senzel is going to be out. Just one of those things with Senzel, just can't get over the injury bug. Just you feel for Nick a lot with all of the injuries that he's had. I'm not sure that's gonna make or break the Reds season. You certainly hope that he can get back and healthy. He's certainly a good contributor and he was playing multiple positions, but he wasn't a big, massive bat in the lineup either. So we're certainly rooting for Nick to get back. Hopefully he can and be a big contributor to this team. So without further ado, we'll get into the conversation tonight with Carlos, and we had a guest join us tonight. We're so thankful for that. We hope you guys will continue to join us every Wednesday night. We usually do it about 9 o'clock if there's no game going on. Next week there is no game going on, so we will be on at 9 o'clock next Wednesday. If there's a game going on, we usually just wait until the game concludes to go on. So without further ado, here we go. What's up, Reds fans? Welcome to Late Night Reds Talk Live. We're actually in the middle of a rain delay as the Reds are trailing the Nationals 3-0. If we get a conclusion tonight, I'll try to record a little something to give a better intro, so this isn't too dated. But since we're in a rain delay, I figured it'd be a good time to talk some Reds baseball. And I also don't want to be editing this at 3 o'clock in the morning tonight. No offense to all you diehards out there. But I'm joined, as always, now by Carlos. Carlos, what is going on, my man?
Not much, man. Just got back from my son's T-ball game and saw that the Reds were losing, and now we're in a rain delay, so I'm watching Trevor Bauer and the Dodgers take on Houston, and amongst other games, Padres tied up with the Brewers, so ready to talk some Reds ball.
Nice. There's no walks in T-ball, right?
No.
Okay. Jeff Hoffman would do very well in T-ball, I think. I think Jeff Hoffman has 5 walks as the game goes on. It's 3-0 as we speak, bottom of the fourth. But anyways, let's just kind of recap the week. The Reds, the skid. The Reds went 1-6 last week. The lone win was the Friday night. Jeff Hoffman started against the Brewers. Figure that. The Reds got swept by the Giants. We left it. They had lost the first 3 games of that series, and then on Thursday, it really hit the fan as the Reds got walloped. I think it was 19-4. So the Reds not playing great at the moment, that's for sure. They're currently 4.5 back in the division behind the Cardinals. They'll lose or gain a half game depending on how tonight's game finishes. They did get a big win yesterday over Max Scherzer, which was, I guess, pretty surprising. Malley pitched well. Antone pitched well. Sims finished it off. A home run from Suarez. So I'm not really sure where to start on this. Tim's usually the better guy at directing our conversation, but Carlos, I guess let's start with how do you feel about the Reds at this present hour?
Not good, Bob. Not good. It's been a rough week. It's hard to find positives really, other than Winker and Castellanos just continue to rake. Been bit by the injury bug. Bullpen has been throwing better when they needed them to. Starting pitching is kind of all over the place right now. So I don't know. Just got to get through this rough stretch. Hopefully they can turn it around before the schedule starts getting even harder.
Yeah, I mean, Reds got to get some guys healthy. I mean, the pitching is the most bizarre thing, especially the starting pitching. Because you can't blame it on Jeff Hoffman because Jeff Hoffman's numbers aren't that bad. You know, they're not as bad as he probably is, but he's not the one, bringing these numbers way down. I mean, the Reds starting pitching, this was yesterday. I did a chart. They are 26th in earned run average. Now, so they're 17th and 5th, but, I mean, that's still, bottom half of the league. So, yeah, I mean, we all know, we've talked at nauseum about Castillo and his struggles. I think we both still believe he's going to turn it around. Gray's kind of been, pretty good, but, he hasn't been great, but he's battled injuries. Mally's pitched much better than his numbers indicate. He's only had 2 bad starts all year. Everything else has been lights out. So his numbers are, I think, a little inflated. And then Miley's pitched great. So really these numbers is just like, it's kind of just bizarre to see the Reds 26th in starting pitching ERA. And I'm sure it actually probably went down because Malley pitched well yesterday. He didn't give a run in, I think, 5 1/3. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's where you start is just the pitching. It's got to be better. The lineup, when healthy, I think is adequate. I mean, do you feel like the lineup, if the Reds got Moustakas and Votto back, is probably close to adequate, Carlos?
Oh, absolutely. They'll be fine. I'm not worried about the offense. I think, I said that at the beginning with our predictions. I felt kind of like the offense and the starting pitching were going to switch roles from last year, and the offense was going to carry. And, I mean, unfortunately, losing Joey almost a month ago and Moose I feel like he's hardly even been healthy all year. I mean, it just feels that way. Senzel out. I mean, once we get Joey and Moose back, I think, the offense is going to take off. The starting pitching, we'll see. I mean, I feel like Luis Castillo, once he gets it going, that stuff is contagious. It's going to bring the best out in Sonny Gray. It's going to challenge Tyler Malley to be better than what he's been because we know he can be. And, Wade Miley, he's going to be the one consistent. Like, I feel like we know what we're going to get from him all the time. He's just that type of pitcher. So, but yeah, other than mumbling on from my long-winded answer, I think the offense is going to be fine once we get them healthy, but we need to get them back quick.
Yeah, I mean, this is with the Reds kind of beat up and injured. I mean, look at their last so many games. This is how many runs they've scored. 5, 8, 6, 6, 7, 3, 2, 0, 4, 9, 4, 4, 2. I mean, like, they're scoring enough runs most nights to, either win a game or be right in it. So, and that's even with, like, the bottom of the Reds order just kind of being completely non-existent. Carlos, what did you think? We'll touch on before we start getting into some questions. What's your take on the Suarez leadoff?
I don't really like it. I don't think it's going to get him any protection from the hitters behind him. I think that plays like in college ball. I don't really think that plays much in big league ball. I think that's very overrated. I mean, unless there's Barry Bonds, behind you. I mean, everybody else is free game. Um, I guess that's what he's trying to do. Did Bell come out and say why he put him at leadoff?
Yeah, I think that's why. Something honestly didn't really occur to me until I really watched the game. And it's not going to play out this way every night. It didn't. It didn't tonight. Suarez came with 2 runners on base in the game tonight so far. But last night, every plate appearance Suarez had, the bases were empty. So I think that in itself is maybe something Bell's thinking, okay, we've just had so many times we've had him up at the plate. There's been 2 or 3 runners on base. And, I know I wrote the preview for Red Leg Nation tonight and someone scoffed at this idea. So, maybe I'm off. I don't know. But a strikeout with the bases empty doesn't feel nearly as bad as a strikeout when there's 2 or 3 runners on base. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's that. Obviously, Suarez batting leadoff is not a long-term solution. It's not something you want to do for anything other than just to try to get him going. But at this point, what do you have to lose? The Reds, there's nothing they can do with Suarez. They have to play him almost every day. I guess they can sit him for a couple of days. I don't really think that's this incredible magic fix other people think. But they have no one else. Max Schrock or Alex Blandino is not going to do any better. You can't send Suarez the AAA to fix him. He's out of options because he's reached 5 years of service time. So there's nowhere to hide. He's just going to have to hopefully come out of this. I tweeted out earlier, his OPS is over 700 the last 15 games, for whatever that's worth. So it's not as putrid as maybe it's completely meant out to be. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. But yeah, I don't know. I think you just have to write it out. I guess, what is it going to hurt to try to bat him leadoff? It's not like this is a long lineup that you're, really stealing, plate appearances from guys in the middle of your order. So yeah, I kind of whatever on this. You have anything else to add to that, Carlos?
No. It was. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It had to have been just come on, let's try to put him up there. Yeah, we can use this. That's an excuse to put him up there to say he's going to get better pitches to swing at. But I just don't like putting him in there in that situation. Batting leadoff is kind of tough. Start the inning, and nobody really likes to start the inning off. But I don't know. It's harder to explain. I don't really like it. I understand what they're doing, and they're saying, hey, maybe we'll try anything, because you're right. They can't do anything with him, especially until Joey or Moose comes back, so they can at least have another power option there in the lineup. Because how many homers does he have right now?
10.
Yeah, that's leave him in the 6 hole.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure at some point that's where he's gonna, settle back when either this fails or if it succeeds, they'll probably move him back and once they get him comfortable or whatever. So, Sydney, if you're still available, let's go ahead and invite you in and you can ask any questions that you have. So we'll give Sydney a second. Let's while we're waiting, let's talk about Castillo. Do you still believe he's going to turn it around?
Yes, yeah, I do. I think he's going to be okay. Something's going to click in a bullpen in the second inning of a game, and he's too good to be this bad. Yeah. Maybe he's tipping pitches. Who knows? But he's just way too good. Throwing 100 miles an hour the other day. He had some nasty changeups, some okay sliders. 2 seams looked okay, but the stuff is there. It's just there's something missing, and I don't believe it's an injury. He's just got to keep throwing, man. Just keep grinding. It's a long season.
Yeah. And I think if you look at the peripheral numbers, I think he's probably should have earned more of a slightly below 5 ERA. Like, I think if Luis Castillo had a 4.75 ERA, I don't think there'd be as much panic in Reds fans. Maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't doubt anyone at this point. But I think there probably would be a little more patience, if it wasn't so bad. So I guess I don't know. That's kind of where I would look at is all the expected stats, all the stats to say what he should have. Say he's probably more like a 4.5, 4.7 ERA. So if you view it that way, I think it makes you feel better. At least it makes me feel better. So I think Sydney's ready. Let's see if
Hello.
Sydney, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Sure.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. What's your question?
So, you were kind of talking about this earlier. I don't know if it was quite when you started getting recording, but I sort of feel like this was Jeff Hoffman's last start as a Red. Nothing against him as a person or any of that, but I feel like after seeing how, I guess, long or short you want to put it, he pitched for us today, and how he has been struggling with command issues all season. And then the fact that he left with an injury earlier, I sort of feel like he might not be coming back to pitch for the Reds. Or if it will be, he's going to be put on the IL for elbow soreness. Sort of like people have been clamoring for Castillo.
I felt the air quotes.
Yeah, so Jeff Hoffman does not have any options, so he could not have been sent down to AAA. I agree. I think Jeff Hoffman was always kind of on borrowed time. Now, the Reds were 5-4 in Jeff Hoffman's starts coming into the game tonight. Now, I am as big of a proponent as anyone. Wins and losses for a starting pitcher are garbage, but I think this notion that the Reds are getting killed every time Jeff Hoffman pitches is probably a little overrated, because they're not. They've actually won more games than they've lost. So I think it was just kind of one of these things with Hoffman. The Reds were just trying to, ride him out as long as they could. Now, you might hate that, but when you see like an injury to a Wade Miley, and Sonny Gray's already been hurt, I think they wanted to get, like, this season with the short season last year, you're trying to get as many innings out of guys as you can. And I think that's what the Reds were trying to do with Hoffman. If Miley's available Sunday, I think Sunday's the day he can return. He could slide right into the rotation. That would be Hoffman's next scheduled day to pitch. Vladimir Gutierrez is pitching on Friday. We're all super excited about that. Gutierrez as well. He could stay in the rotation. Yeah, I would say Jeff Hoffman's probably started his last game, at least for a while. Maybe he goes on the IL. Maybe he comes back and there's another injury and he can get another chance. If he goes on the IL, he can actually do a rehab stint. I think it's up to 21 days. It's kind of a nice way to like spy 3 weeks in AAA to kind of keep him as a just kind of an option in case you do have more injuries. So yeah, that's probably what I see out of Hoffman. Carlos, do you kind of feel like that's? I know you weren't able to watch tonight, but you've seen enough Jeff Hoffman. You kind of feel that kind of follows where he's at.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing if he's hurt. I'm sure he'll at least miss a start since he came out. They might give him maybe a 10-day or something like that. But I think whenever he does come, he's going to go to the bullpen for a while, because I mean he's probably a better option than a couple of those guys that are out there right now. And I would like to see him, come in, maybe try to throw a little bit harder and just those fastballs and sliders. I think that brings in TJ Anto for me. Like, I mean, What do we got to lose? Like we said earlier, I mean, there's nothing to lose right now. It's try it out, give them a couple starts, and if it doesn't go well, then move them back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different category. That's a whole different subject, but yeah.
I mean, would you rather have TJ Anton as a starter every fifth day, giving you like 6 innings, or would you rather him give you 2-3 innings, like several days a week? Which one do you think is more effective?
It's tough. We talked about that a little bit last time. It's tough because I mean, he's great whenever they need him to come out of the bullpen and help, but those wins and those opportunities for him to pitch are too far and few in between right now. Like, we've got to see him out there, at least maybe a couple of starts now. If not, start working him up. He deserves a chance, man. He really does.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a totally different conversation if the Reds had a good bullpen beyond him.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at the game yesterday. Do the Reds win that game if they don't have TJ Anton in the bullpen? I mean, that I don't know the answer to that. You know, Mahle went 5 1/3. The Reds only won the game by 1 run, and the run was actually after Anton left the game. So it's just like it's almost like cutting off your leg to save your arm. You know, like I don't know.
I mean, just imagine, in a month from now, we got Castillo going, Grays going, and then you get Mahle going, and then you have to answer to TJ Anton. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's a big boost for the team as well. They're like, all right, we got TJ in there and he's throwing well. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to pitch well as a starter. And, like every day you show up to the park, oh, we got a chance. I mean, the boys show up to the park a little different whenever, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but just say, a good starting pitcher or, someone who's not doing so well. It's a different attitude, different mood in the locker room, and it's real.
I think a lot of it depends, too, on what are the Reds' plans with all these other pitching prospects. Like, how quickly are they going to push them along? I mean, if the Reds are thinking, and I don't believe they are, I know some people think that Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo are going to pitch this summer. I'll believe it when I see it. I would love to be wrong on that, but I think the Reds are going to be very patient with those guys, maybe too patient. But if those guys are coming in the rotation at some point, then okay, yeah, I mean, I see why you leave Anton in the bullpen. I mean, if you're bringing up Green and Lodolo, you're not taking Mahle out of the rotation, you're not taking Gray out of the rotation, and you're not taking Castillo out of the rotation. So, and then you still have Gutierrez and Santillan, in AAA. So maybe that's kind of more of the thinking is, hey, we have a lot of starting pitching options. Our bullpen, we don't want to, we don't want to put Hunter Green in the bullpen and ruin his development. We don't think it's going to ruin TJ Anton's development because he was a reliever last year. So there's a lot of factors into it. I mean, TJ Anton could have started tonight, and the Reds don't score a run, and TJ Anton gives up 2 runs over, 6 1/3, and you still lose the game. Whereas, hey, at least last night when you used him, you won the game, and the Reds aren't losing many games where they have a lead late. That's the one thing they're doing well, and it's really incredible for a team that has such a mediocre is maybe the nicest way to say it, a mediocre bullpen, how few of games they're blowing. I mean, when's the last time they blew a game? Was it that Diamondbacks game with Garrett earlier in the year? Was that the last, real game they blew late?
Yeah, I really don't remember.
So, it's just, I don't know. It's a tough call. Maybe a solution that would make a lot of people feel better. What if when TJ Anton hasn't been used for 2 days, he opens on the after he's gone 2 days, say, hey, you know what, we can't waste him. Let's have him open. He pitches 2 innings. I mean, I don't know. Do they feel that would mess up Castillo or Mahle or Gray if they did that? I don't know.
Yeah, you're not going to do that to one of those guys.
Yeah.
It would have to be on
It'd have to fall right. It'd have to fall on a Hoffman or a Gutierrez day or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to bring up Green or Lodolo unless they're in it in like August.
No.
Like I don't think they'll wait till September. I think they'll wait till then maybe. If they're in it, possibly use them for a couple of starts here and there, or possibly we even wait till September if they're in it to bring them in. And probably it would be the bullpen by that time of the year because they're not going to keep logging on those starter innings. And if the Reds keep losing, then they're going to put TJ Antone as a starter because they got to see him, see what he can do. I think probably the only way that he stays in the bullpen is if they keep winning, or if they start winning and keep pitching well in the bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the season's sunk, then sure, whatever. The bullpen can be whatever if the season's sunk. I don't believe the season's sunk yet.
No.
I don't think it's in a good spot, but I think it's far from sunk.
Right.
Cindy, do you have any other? So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The one other thing, the only other thing I could think to add is hopefully at some point, I know some people have probably forgotten about him. It's hard to forget about him, but Michael Lorenzen still exists. He will hopefully come back healthy at some point, you would have to imagine. Now, as far as I've been reading updates on him, it's really nothing. It's really been nothing. No sort of update. It's just been he still doesn't feel right, so we're going to wait until he feels right type deal. But getting him back either in the bullpen or you'd have to imagine the bullpen at this point. Getting him back in the bullpen would be quite an addition to hopefully stabilize it, and possibly if you get him in there, you can move Anton to the rotation or what have you. But that was the only other thing I could think to add. He
absolutely
has to come back at some point, you would figure.
Yeah, I think you stick him in the bullpen. I don't think you want to take the time to waste to stretch him out. You just need to get him helping this club as quickly as he can, and stretch him out maybe at the major league level. As soon as you can get him ready to pitch, get him into some major league games, he can help the bullpen. And then if you are in a situation where you need multiple starters, say a couple guys get hurt, and then you could maybe work Lorenzen in. The Reds did that on the fly last year. So I don't know why they couldn't do it again this year. So, yeah. I'd love to see Lorenzen back. Well, Sydney, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Hope you join us again. Thanks for the questions. Very good stuff. All right. So, Carlos, back to the grind here. Who else did I want to touch on?
Barry Larkin?
Oh no! Should we go there? Yeah, Barry Larkin, the color analyst. Was it Saturday? Was it Saturday that he had a really, really rough game? Was that Saturday?
I think so.
They all run together. Yeah, had a really, really rough game. Just kept harping over and over again about the pulling of Blake Snell, and man, that was a tough listen. I said this on Twitter, so I apologize to people who follow me, but I give Barry Larkin credit. He's positive, and that's very refreshing. And if there's any quality I want in a broadcaster for the Reds after kind of what I've listened to for the last 10 years, it's just please be positive. So he at least checks that box. So I don't want to complain too much. But man, it probably, I guess Barry Larkin as a color analyst kind of feels like Jeff Hoffman taking starts away from TJ Antone with Larkin with Chris Welsh.
Oh God, that was so brutal. He's describing his conversation of hanging out with buddies at the bar. What? What are you talking about, dude? And you can tell. Jim Day felt so uncomfortable. They thought it was, like in good faith, a question, and they're going to answer it and kind of move on. But nope, Barry kept bringing it back. So I ask you, what was he asking? Or what makes an old school manager versus a new school? What is it? Jeez, Barry, there's so many things.
Yeah, and then he kept going into David Bell, is he old school or new school, and couldn't make up his mind. So Nick Castellanos leads the National League in wins above replacement at 2.8. How about Nick Castellanos?
Yeah, I mean,
let's change the subject.
Yeah,
before we get ourselves in trouble.
Yeah, that guy, Nick. Well, apparently he's an old school, I guess, because he's doing so well. So he's old school.
Old school with the bat flips and the stare downs at home plate.
and the backwards cap interview with a fan. That was classic. That interview he did with that fan.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm sad we didn't touch on that last week. Shame on Tim. By the way, I should have started with this. Congratulations to Tim. Tim is a married man. He is on his honeymoon this week, so that's why he's off.
Got him.
Carlos, I think you've been more of a regular than Tim. I mean, how about this? I mean, I'm the only Cal Ripken of this group. But seriously, congrats to Tim. We look forward to having him back next week. Him and his new bride put up some great pictures. So, congrats, Tim.
Yeah, congrats, Tim.
I hope you're not listening to this on your honeymoon. But yeah, so let's talk about David Bell. That's the other hot topic. I'm going to let you go first because I think everyone knows I'm just the big David Bell ride or die guy. What's your thoughts on David Bell lately? I thought last night he managed a fantastic game. What's your thoughts on Bell these days?
I like him. I'm on board with you. I think he's done really well. I mean, some of his bullpen decisions, which, like with every manager, and whenever we're back at home watching the game, you kind of question. But, he's done well with the cards he's dealt. I feel like he's playing them pretty good. Yeah.
It's just he's in a lot of no-win situations with a lot of the moves he makes. But last night, I mean, it just, he didn't push Tyler Mahle 5 1/3. Pulled him while he was ahead. He gave up a lot of hard hit balls. Numbers will look great, but hey, he didn't push him. He was just happy with what he got. Handed the ball over to Antone. Antone gave you 2 1/3, pitched great as usual. We shouldn't expect it, but he keeps doing it. And then he brought in Garrett, and everyone was mad about him bringing in Garrett, but Garrett has pitched phenomenal. I mean, let's talk about Amir Garrett for a second. I mean, Amir Garrett, how about the season that he's turned around?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, nobody's going to talk about it because the Reds are playing bad and he's pitching good. So if the Reds were playing bad and he was pitching bad, because of him, we'd be talking about it. And if they were winning, I mean, then he'd probably be up and yelling and still on Twitter and be but I mean, it's been great to see that come around. I mean, I think we kind of both knew that it would. It's just a matter of getting some more pitches thrown in a game. Kind of like when I talked about Castillo, you just find a little something in a bullpen or in a game, and it kind of just starts coming together slowly. And I got all the confidence in the world. I have no problem bringing him in, even in the ninth, to close a game or in a tie game or, to get out of a jam. I mean, he's one of those. I mean, is he top 3 reliever now that you would go to again? You got Sims, Antone, and then him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I mean, I think it's back to where we started. I mean, I'm more worried about Sims than Garrett right now. Like, Sims hasn't thrown terribly bad, but he hasn't looked good. feel like he struggles every time out. He's still a little off. But yeah, I mean, he's one. They're 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I think Sims has just had some really just brutal luck, and I still feel good about Sims. I would say obviously TJ Antone's 1, and there's a wide gap between 2.
Yes,
And I would say Sims and Garrett. If there's 3 batters up and 2 of them are right-handed, I feel better about Sims. If there's 3 batters up, 2 of them are left-handed, I feel better about Garrett. I mean, that's kind of where it's at. Situation last night was 2 left-handed batters and a switch-hitting batter. Garrett struck out Juan Soto, who he's a decent ball player from what I hear. Switch hitter Josh Bell took him deep on a
his
3-2
right-handed
pitch.
swing looks ugly.
Yeah,
he looks like a left-hander hitting right-handed, and he still crushed it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He got one,
game.
and then Garrett retired Ryan Zimmerman, who pinch hit for Kyle Schwarber. But Kyle Schwarber, the last 3 weeks, has just been on fire. So by bringing Garrett, you got the guy who's been literally the Nationals' best hitter the last 3 weeks out of the lineup, because Schwarber's pretty bad against left-handed pitchers. And then the thing I love most about what David Bell did last night was Amir Garrett wanted to stay in the game after he got through his 3 batters. The next batter was right-handed. Garrett wanted to stay in, and Carlos, you know this. There's so many managers that have been like, oh, you know what? I got to give my guy this emotional moment. He needs this. No, David Bell said, we need to win this game. And
he said, nah, come pull up a chair by me.
You did a good job. You got 2 of the 3 out. We still have the lead. Let's bring in Lucas to get this right-handed batter. And I just think, people hate on playing the matchups, but I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Why what I really think? Data? You want to know what I really think?
I do.
I think that he was okay with coming out, and he just kind of put up a little front because he's still coming back from struggling. He's like, we're like, yes, he's back. We're stuck. I'm like, yeah, okay, do it again. So I think he's kind of like, all right, I threw well. Like I had a conversation with one of my buddies about it. I was like, it sucks. It's going to look like a bad outing because he gave up the homer, and he only got 2 outs. But if he would have stayed in there and closed it out, then his teammates, his manager, probably most of us would look at it as a good outing. But it still wouldn't have been a good outing because he gave up a run,
Yeah.
But it was just, I was like, yeah, I think he was okay with coming out. He just got to put up a little front because we know, he likes to be flamboyant, or he did like to, and now that he's kind of been humbled a little bit, I think that was kind of just a little taste of what's to come once he keeps rolling again.
Well, and you know what? The Reds had a 2-run lead. I would much rather him on a 3-2 pitch throw a cookie to Josh Bell and make him beat him than walk him.
Absolutely.
The Reds had a 2-run lead. You can't walk him. That was his biggest struggle early in the year.
Josh Bell was like 1 for 25 right-handed. Is that what I heard yesterday? Take your head off of him. I mean, he's a big league player, but still, I'm throwing it right down the middle. I'm not even trying to hit a third. I'm throwing it right down the middle. Yeah,
if it's if it's a 1-0 game, it's a different story. But it's a 2-0 game. You have to throw a strike. He made sure he threw a strike. Hey, the guy beat you. Whatever. That's still smart pitching. That's still what you want to see out of Amir Garrett. Yeah, I'm super pleased. If some of the other areas of the game can get figured out, 3 quality relievers, you can get by as long as it's not a close game every night of the week. You can get by with those. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely encouraged. I think we've seen a big step out of Garrett, and I think Sims will get there. And I can't believe how good TJ Antone's been.
That slider he threw.
It's automatic. I don't. Crazy.
That slider he threw on, what was it? What game was that? Was that Sunday? Where he closed it out with a swing and slider that the guy missed by 2.5 feet. I mean, it was so
Yeah.
nasty that it was like on Pitching Ninja. I don't know what it was. So when was their last win?
Last night.
Was it last night that he threw that pitch? Oh no,
Is it
I
last
probably
night
had
or was it
I probably had one too many last night.
was it Friday night? Friday night was the last one before that against the Brewers.
Well, then it had to have been last night. Yeah, because I think I tweeted like, "Oh, that's going to be on Pitch Ninja," and then like within 5 minutes, it was all over the internet. It was
Yeah,
sick.
I think that was last night. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nasty pitch.
Let's talk for a second here about the rest of the division. I think we're seeing some of the division come back down to earth. Like we had said, the Cardinals aren't going to be this good forever. The Cardinals have lost back-to-back series. I know they did win today, but they have lost back-to-back series, so that's encouraging. They're going to start losing at some point. The Cubs are playing really well. Cubs have actually 8 of their last 10. They've gotten within a half game of the Cardinals. And the Brewers are 2.5 back. Brewers are right at 500. They're kind of just chugging along. Then the Reds are 4.5 back. They'll either be 4 if they come back and win tonight, or they'll be 5 tomorrow morning. So, do you have any takes on the Central Division? Kind of what we've seen.
No, I think all teams are going to be going through what the Reds are going through right now, losing a bunch of games, losing a bunch of series, and it's just going to. It's not going to play out like we all thought it would. It's going to come down to September, see who's around there, see who gets the hottest. If you're within, like 5 games going into September, you have a chance. So, I mean, we just got to let it play out. Try and stay as healthy as possible, and just let it play out.
Yeah,
because I don't think we're going to be signing anybody.
Yeah, that's another thing I did want to touch on. But yeah, I think each week you're going to feel different about the division. I think the Cardinals, I know they're on top right now. I think there's going to be multiple teams take the lead, and it's going to kind of go back and forth. Hopefully the Reds are one of those 4. Hopefully there's 4. But I think there'll be several teams kind of going back and forth. And the thing I keep saying, last 2 weeks of the season, the Reds played the Pittsburgh Pirates 9 times. 9 times. I mean, and God only knows what that Pittsburgh Pirates team is going to look like in September. So get me to the finish line within a couple games, and we'll see what happens.
Hopefully, watching the Padres right now, they got tied up with the Brewers in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, I got that on one of my screens here. So the trade deadline, we still got 2 very long months until we get there. With the Reds, I kind of feel like they're in a spot where the only way this team is going to get better is if they play really well over the next 2 months, and they are at least within a couple games. But certainly, if the Reds are 5 out or more, they're not going to do anything at the deadline. Maybe they don't sell. Maybe they just kind of stand put, kind of like more what they did in like 2019. Although I guess they did get rid of Puig, but they didn't. They could have sold a lot more. Maybe that's the kind of trade deadline they have. But I think the only way this team's going to improve is if they are able to just kind of power through all these injuries and some of these early season slumps and get within a couple games. Because I don't know. I think if you get to the trade deadline and these stadiums are at full capacity, Bob Castellini's going to, I know he probably doesn't really care a lot, what fans might think, but man, there's no excuses at that point. You're kind of losing your excuse to add any pieces. And I think of the trade deadline, I think there's going to be plenty of players that you can pick up for virtually nothing other than just adding salary. Maybe not a Trevor Story, not a superstar, but I think you're going to be able to pick up a heck of a bullpen if you just take on some salary.
Yeah, I think that's where it'll be at, is the bullpen, because that'll be the cheapest and one of the most effective ways, to change your team.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to give up anything, or I don't think Bob wants to give up anything to get quality shortstop or whatever the trade deadline brings us. Anybody injured or anything like that, I don't think he's going to be willing to give up anything, especially in the minor leagues. So I believe they're just going to go for a reliever, and they can give a couple of mid-level prospects for a good reliever. So I think that's the route that they'll go. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
What'd you think of Willy Adames? What'd you think of the Reds? The Reds were reportedly interested in him this offseason.
The Reds were probably as surprised as we were. Like, wait, what? You can make trades right now? What?
We would have done that. We would have done that. We would have beat that offer. I don't know. Just kind of bizarre. I mean, I certainly must have overvalued Willy Adames because, like maybe the Reds, should have been smarter and beat that deal. But like there's 28 other teams that could have, looked at that too. So clearly wasn't as valuable as I thought he was. But man, that just seemed like a clear upgrade. And I know Kyle Farmer. He's played very good defense. There's a lot to like about Kyle Farmer, but he's not a quality major league hitter. I mean, there's no upside there. There's no, he's a Eugenio Suarez right now without the upside.
Yeah, he's gonna be. It's not good for him. He's getting all this opportunity, but it's not his fault. He's gonna be a big leaguer for a long time because he's gonna be able to come off the bench and play a lot of positions. That's what Kyle Farmer is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just that
but
Willy
not for the
Adames trade,
sometimes he bats 5-hole.
That Willy Adames trade, man, that was a gut punch. And look, Willy Adames probably doesn't put the Reds over the top. He also probably doesn't put the Brewers over the top. Man, that just feels like the kind of deal like right there for the taking. It clearly improves your team. It's just something to say, hey, look, we're trying. I don't get that. I really hope that there's something bigger coming. But I'll believe that when I see it.
Did Jose Garcia use up a year of service time last year?
I believe so. Because
I bet you he would have been, if he would have continued the way he's hitting down there for like another month, they probably would have called him up.
Yeah, are you? I don't know.
Because they started the clock on him. I saw that he got hurt, but
yeah, he's been out. I don't know if they announced it or not. But he had some sort of undisclosed injury. So Fangraphs isn't always right on this. It actually says he did not hit a year of service time. He's at.
Well, then there goes that.
He's at .92. So yeah, I think the Reds really timed up when they called him up last year.
What a bunch of jerks!
Strategically,
and
I gotta learn these things better. But it says he still has 3 MILB options. So somehow last year didn't count as an option. I don't know. Maybe because there was no minor leagues. I don't understand that. So I don't know. Fangraphs could be wrong. I know they have been wrong on some stuff before. But yeah, I mean, it's saying he hasn't hit a year of service time. So there's no benefit to it unless you're keeping him out the entire year this year. There's no benefit to bringing him up and sending him back down or anything like that.
Yeah. That's why, I think if he would have had a full year, then they would have had they probably would have brought him up if he would have kept playing well. because they can always just send him back down just because, I mean, his clock started, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, unless I'm missing something or there's something wrong here, them having him in Double-A is legitimately only for his development. I don't think there's any other games being played with him, unless I'm missing something. And if someone knows better than me, please correct me. I'm not the expert on that kind of stuff. I'm not the expert on really anything, but I'm definitely not the expert on that.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I don't even know.
Yeah. So
we have agents.
Yeah. that know a lot more. Let's before we get out of here, let's touch on the Reds' upcoming schedule. Maybe some quick thoughts on that. Who we got? So, Reds finish up this series with the Nationals. Then they go to Chicago for the first time. First time at Wrigley Field with fans since 2019. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I believe the last series they played against the Cubs kind of was one of it kind of knocked the Cubs out of the playoffs. The Reds won 2 out of 3. Luis Castillo pitched a really good game. It was just such a fun series for a bad year. So be cool for the Reds to play in Wrigley in front of fans again. And then they got the Phillies. Then they're at St. Louis, Milwaukee, Colorado at home. So, I mean, these are all, their next...
Well, they're all day games, too.
Until June 17th. So, I mean, almost, the next 3 weeks, they're playing all teams that are honestly kind of, except for the Rockies, probably all teams that are, like, similar to the Reds. Nationals, Cubs, Phillies, Cardinals, Brewers. Those are all teams that are like the Reds. They're teams with some talent, but they have very flawed rosters, every single one of them. So they're kind of all flip a coin games. And then the Reds play 3 in San Diego. And then 4 in Atlanta, and then more with San Diego. So, definitely need to get some wins here in the next 3 weeks before they kind of get into that stretch. But, I mean, it's one of those, I keep saying it's a long season. We'll just, have to kind of see how things play out. There's a lot to like about the Reds. I think, my guy, Clay said it best. I was listening to a podcast that he was on. I mean, the Reds have had a lot of players not perform that there's a lot of upside and they can come back. But on the flip side, Nick Castellanos and even Jesse Winker, to an extent, maybe not as much, have also overperformed. Will they come back down to earth? You just hope that it doesn't, really level out there, and that there's, the upside, and you still have some of that production from those guys. So, we'll see. Anything else, Carlos, before we get out of here tonight?
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah. So. Next week we should have Tim back. Next week we will. Looks like we'll be on at the normal. What's our normal time? 9:00. I think that's our normal time.
Yeah.
We'll be on at 9:00 because the Reds do have a day game next Wednesday.
They got a lot of day games coming up.
Yeah, a lot of them on.
They'll probably have one tomorrow.
No,
tomorrow. I don't even know.
Tomorrow's a night game in DC, and then Friday's a day game in Chicago.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up by both of those teams. Like, Carlos, isn't like the common courtesy in Major League Baseball that on a getaway day for a team, you play a day game. And then if you have a team coming in, you normally have a night game.
Well, it is in Chicago, so that is like
okay, but they're allowed to play games. They're allowed to play night games now. Like they play a lot of night games.
Well, it's an ESPN game, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's ESPN Plus. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I don't think that matters. Oh, and then the Reds, after they go to Chicago, they come back to Cincinnati for a day game on Monday because it's Memorial Day. So, man, that's a brutal travel.
I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 day games in the next 2 weeks. Oof.
And they don't have an off day until June 7th. So,
Joey's probably ready to come back. He's like, let me wait 2 weeks.
Let's wait till we have some off days coming up. But hopefully,
I don't know about this early wake up call.
Hopefully, all the traveling, hopefully it'll galvanize the troops, as they might say. But all right, well, until next time. I don't know. How do you sign off one of these things? Carlos, you want to do the sign off?
Bye.
That works. See you next time. Go Reds.